Trevor Bauer. So here's a guy that wins a Cy Young. Okay, and I know you and him have gone back and forth.
Yeah.
And so he wins the Cy Young. He calls it the Mickey Mouse Trophy, whatever he calls it.
Yeah.
So he's also another guy that's a good troll. He knows how to get under people's skin, and he was doing it regularly. But this guy was a qualified star pitcher. He was a great.
He won the Cy Young.
He won the Cy Young. You don't win the Cy Young, luckily. And then all of a sudden the story comes out, and he can't play. He's not getting paid.
He's never going to play again.
You don't think he's ever going to play again? But is that deserved, though?
No, absolutely not. No. Nothing happened.
So what do you mean he's never going to play again?
You know as well as I do, especially when you're talking about corporations and images, and a majority of owners are very liberal people. They're not going to touch him because sports has gotten to a very uncomfortable place. The professional sports has started to cater to fans who don't buy tickets. If you think about the fans they're catering to the fans who will go to their sponsors and boycott their sponsors, not the people that show up at the ballpark or the stadium or the arena or the rink. And think about the blowback. I mean, first of all, look at the Deshaun Watson stuff and how Cleveland. I always say, if you're a Cleveland Indians fan or you're a Mets fan or you're a Rangers fan, you can't be mad at players. Right? If you're bad for 30 years, the roster turns over. Your coaching staff changes. The only constant is ownership. And owners just consistently suck at things. And it's just the way it is. Daniel Snyder, there's a reason the Redskins are continually bad. There's a reason the Cowboys with the Supreme roster haven't made that final step. When the owner starts to meddle.
Whose phone is that? Is that your phone or whose phone is making that?
When the ownership starts to meddle if you're going to hire people to do things, let them do it. You know that from business, right? You bring people in, you bring in someone to run your HR department, and then you meddle in every decision that's made. That person's not running your HR department.
So you're saying he's done? He'll never pitch again?
I don't think he'll ever pitch again. Well, again.
What can he do, though? As a player, we have a legal system. We have a justice system. What can he do? Can he hire lawyers and go? What can he do? And there's still nothing's going to happen.
Sometimes I feel like sometimes I get asked questions. You know the answer. You know the answer. In this day and age, with the way society is going, it's not going to get better for him. Things aren't going to improve. Suddenly, people aren't just going to suddenly start saying, well, it's in the past. I mean, there's some things that we don't have second chances for in any capacity, and that has to be things with children, things with women and abuse and things. We don't give second chances to people like that, and in many cases,
I don't know about that.
But see, there was no legal basis for them to do this other than he offended Major League Baseball.
Yeah, the district attorney sat on it for 9 months and then didn't file.
Yeah.
But if you go to the...
And they dropped charges. I mean,
correct.
They didn't find enough evidence.
Go to the Cowboys. Remember the Cowboys when they always had issues? Leon, every time stories would come out, well, this person this and that person this and girls this, and you would get LT, stories would come out. None of that is even close to what... This is consensual sex he had. Right. The girl comes back for a second time around.
Right. And all the text messages to back up what he said.
All of it.
All of it.
And you still don't think he's going to ever play.
Do you?
I would think which team would risk it to sign him? Which team would be somebody that would have...
I don't think they would.
And let's just add to the fact that he's clearly kind of a dick. I mean, if you look at the way his teammates have talked about him and the things that he'd done, I mean, he and I got into it over the fact that he cut his finger on a drone during the playoffs and his response was, well, we won the game. I was like, well, it wasn't about winning the game. That wasn't the thing. You taxed your bullpen because you were dicking around with a drone, and it cost your team down the road. He's a little short-sighted to see this. Unbelievably gifted, talented pitcher, but I don't think there's any team that would want the headache.
But Curt, all it takes is one. What comes to mind is in the 80s and 90s in the NFL, who was the team that would sign all the players with problems? The Raiders, Al Davis. So if you had a freaking problem, if you're the recent Antonio Brown.
But we're past that now.
That's what I'm saying. Is there a team in baseball that's all right, we'll be the badass team?
Who was the running back for the Ravens?
Ray Rice?
Ray Rice. Yes. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff
But what he did was astronomically worse than Trevor Bauer.
Actually, I apologize for using that as a comp. That's not really. Yeah. But if you look at what's happening now, it's got... At the end of the day, that's why people say, oh, you played a game for a living. No. Baseball is a $10 billion a year business. They'll never forget that. The only thing owners hate more than bad press is losing money. And what's the advantage to bringing this guy in? he has to win 20 games, 25 games with a sub-2 ERA to be even remotely break even because of the blowback you're going to be dealing with.
But even if you give him a veteran's minimum, this guy who used to make $30 million.
But here's the problem.
I mean, there's going to be some value there, no?
The problem becomes when you go to a New York. Every single start of Trevor Bauer's season, all 25 guys are being asked what they think about Trevor Bauer. It's an enormous mental
headache.
It is, and your teammates have to deal with it. And I'm sure I've seen video. He's running around throwing to hitters I've never heard of, and I think that's my phone. Actually, I apologize for that. Oh, I thought I turned it off. Those were my chickens barking. But no one wants to deal with it, and I really don't blame them. It's.
But just so you know, at 30 years old, his contract. So here's how he got paid. He played for the Diamondbacks for 4 years. For 2 years, he got 1.18. Then he got 2 years Indians 1.18. Then he went to 1.19. Then he went to 3.5 million with the Indians. Then 6.5. Then 13 million Indians. Then 17.5 Reds. Then 31 Dodgers. 35 Dodgers. He's supposed to be at 35. Obviously, he's not getting paid. This is going to cost this guy
hundreds.
A couple of $100 million,
Easy.
and he's at the peak of his career.
He won the Cy Young.
Peak of his earning potential. Too.
Peak of the earnings potential. Man, this is very, very strange to me.
Well, you see the way baseball's played it. So they let one section of it play out. So that goes from July to the end of the next season. So there's a year and a half of career until just now we hand down the 2 years. So now he's got 2 years. So now you're out to the end of the 24 season. So effectively, that's 3.5 seasons
at 30 to 40 million per.
And so baseball is drawing a line at 3.5 years, and they're just saying, okay, I dare you. Just leaving it in the hands of the owners, right? It's like 3.5 years from now, 3.5 years from the fury that went with it. And by the way, I got 2 daughters, and no one wants to read about this kind of stuff. No, none of us do. I said, but my legal brain says, it was consensual between 2 adults, and it's really unfortunate that it went this way. However, baseball's setting it up. 3.5 years. Which owner would like to cross the line?
Well, he clearly doesn't have a lot of common sense.
Which owners in baseball are conservative? How Jerry Jones is conservative? Where he stands. You know where Robert Kraft stands. You know how certain people stand.
You don't know who they are. There are I know some, but they don't make it public. Because,
they're quiet about it.
Well, again, it's not it's a loss leader. It's going to bring in. It's not going to help your bottom line to be openly conservative now.
Why would it not help your bottom line to be openly conservative? Because
of the activism. It's the same argument we use politically.
You talk about fans, though. Fans going to show up.
But it's not about the fans. It's about the people that aren't showing up. The people that are going to go and boycott your sponsors.
Right.
You're talking about. And now, look at the contracts. Look at the payrolls. TV, the revenue is all coming through through video.
How much of the decision of him not coming back is Manfred? How much of the decision is the owners?
I would say probably 95.5.
95 is Manfred.
Yeah. I think that's how it. Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah.
Oh, the commissioner doesn't want him in the league. He's done. Bad PR, bad publicity.
There's no upside.
Can he go to Japan today and get paid the real kind of money?
No. I don't. Nothing to.
Nothing pays the way we pay.
No, and I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if he could go to. I don't know how Japan would. I don't know how they'd handle that because you don't read about this with Japanese players. You don't read about this in the Korean League or any of that other stuff.
Where Tom Selleck played in a movie years ago. Remember that, Mr. Baseball?
Mr. Baseball.
He went
Yep.
And
I loved it over there. I went over there on a tour with the team. We played. That was heaven. That's
what I hear. That's what I hear from a lot of different people. Anyways, listen. For a guy who's got talent, who didn't break the law, and they're taking this position, if Manfred's position was different, would the owners also take a different position on it?
They might take a bit different position. I can't see a team stepping up to do that. Not in this environment.
I know a lot of athletes that did a lot of things 10 times worse, who are not good players, who still played, and they were forgiven 2-3 years later.
Yep. Well, I mean, the world has forgiven Pete Rose, even if baseball hasn't. I mean, Pete Rose bet on his team to win and lose as a player and a manager.
It's a rough thing to replace a $35-40 million a year job. There's not a lot of places you can make $35 to $40 million a year.
Yeah, that's your skill set.
Yeah.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.